This challenge was supposed to be a 10-year journey where we got Chelsea out of billions of pounds worth of debt. Chelsea are £2 billion in debt and I can't sign anybody for 10 years. And in our first season, we came pretty close to winning the Premier League, qualifying Chelsea back in for the Champions League again, and everything was moving in the right direction. So the goal from here was always going to be win the Champions League with Chelsea without doing any transfers, whilst slowly paying off that enormous amount of debt. But Football Manager didn't like that plan. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, here is your confirmation that we did finish third in the Premier League at the end of our first season, and the club financially is in a mess. We left on a cliffhanger in the last episode that we might not even be able to qualify for the Champions League. It was rightly pointed out to me in the comments that we haven't actually had a Premier League prize money yet, so that problem should sort itself out. And although we are on a transfer embargo for the next 9 seasons, we are going to get some fresh faces into the club this summer because we've got a number of players who were out on loan who'll be returning to us, the likes of Kepa, Raheem Sterling, Chalobah, Broja, Disasi, Neto. There's a lot of them, plus the pre-arranged transfers that were already scheduled at the start of the game all will continue to go through. So we are going to be joined by Kendry Pies, Esteval and Jadon Sancho will be joining the club permanently because in this universe there was no secret get-out clause. But we do have quite the balance to clear, and we need to clear it in the knowledge that we're not actually going to have the opportunity to bring anybody new in, which is problematic. So fast forward to the end of summer, and as you can see, those players, as expected, have arrived, and we have moved some big names on. Pedro Neto has gone to Milan for 34 million as part of his loan deal. The big sale, I guess, is Reece James leaving to go to Manchester City. I didn't really want to sell him, but he dug his heels in and kind of forced through the move. So he's gone there for a price that could rise as high as £84 million. We also sold Kepa to Arsenal for £27.5 million and have sent a bunch of the fringe players out on loan. Money-wise, it's barely touched the sides. As you can see, we're still £168 million overdrawn and have a total debt as a football club of over £2 billion. Plus that very, very long transfer embargo still in place. But we did get into the Champions League. The secret money did come through. So we have made it into the Champions League phase. And now we just need to go and win it, right? Easy peasy. We might just go and win the Premier League as well, because as you can see, we've started the season really rather well. Wesley Fofana, one of the top scorers in the league. Yes, I like set pieces in all universes, but we are joint top of the table with Crystal Palace. The media think we're looking good for Europa League qualification. Balls to that. We are going for the big one, and this is our best 11 as it looks going into this season. Goalkeeper wise, I think Jorgensen is probably our best guy. I mean, there isn't really a good goalkeeper at Chelsea. There's dozens of goalkeepers. We've got Jorgensen, we've got Petrovic, we had Kepa, Bettinelli, Bergstrom. There's loads of goalkeepers here. They're all pretty rubbish, but Jorgensen's the best of a bad bunch. But fullbacks wise, we've got 2 really attacking wing backs, so we're having them bombing on and overlapping beyond our wide men up top who are going to be tucking in and supporting Nkunku and Jackson for a very, very attacking, quite narrow front 4. All the width is going to be coming from Gusto and Chilwell pushing forward on the overlap. We want our centre-backs to do centre-back things and our centre midfielders to just basically sit in front of them and not get too adventurous. The plan very much is we attack with a man wide on either side and then 4 men in the middle doing all of the football goals. What's actually happened is Wesley Fofana has just scored from a lot of corners, but that's the plan. Let's see how we get on, I guess. And as you can see, as we hit January, we are top of the league, and not just top of the league by 6 points. We are running away with it. Top scorer is jointly between Badiashile and Nkunku. Badiashile, 9 goals from 19 appearances in the Premier League, 12 from 23 in all competitions. I guess he took over from Fofana as the guy who was lurking at the near post. But as you can see, we started the season really, really, really strongly, but it has taken a little bit of a turn in recent matches. We've got a few players who want away from the club, but I think it's more a case of we are starting to struggle from and it seems mad saying this as Chelsea manager, a relatively small squad. There are a few positions where we don't have a huge amount of strength in depth. Right back in particular, we only really have Malo Gusto. Fofana's a starting centre-back. Chalobah isn't really a fullback. And likewise at left back, we've only really got Ben Chilwell. There's not really any kind of backup. And as the tactic is all about those two bombing up and down all day long, it's not ideal that we don't have backups for either of them. We're also struggling from the lack of a proper out-and-out striker. Nkunku is playing there a little bit with João Felix tucking in behind him, but we don't really have that 30 goal a season striker that you would want to have. And although similar to goalkeeper, we've got lots of wingers, none of them are what you would call like standout wingers. Luckily, in this universe, Raheem Sterling hasn't done what Raheem Sterling in real life has done and just forgotten how to play football. So he's probably our best guy out wide. 11 goal contributions from him and a 7.09. Raheem Sterling is back, boys and girls. As far as money goes, obviously we are massively overdrawn, as you would expect. The total debt is coming down, though, down from, I think, 2.3 billion at the start to 2.1 billion now, which, I mean, when you're still over 2 billion, it doesn't sound that impressive, but we have paid back 200 million pounds in 18 months, which I don't think is too bad. We're still on course for FFP. We're actually well below our wage budget, and the board won't let me move more transfer budget into wage budget because of, I think, financial fair play nonsense. But yeah, we're doing all right. What we could really do with now is some players coming up from the youth setup. So I think Caleb Wiley is going to do exactly that. He's a 21-year-old American left back who has played internationally. He's exactly the kind of left back that we want to be using. So I think we probably need to bring him in to rotate and compete with Ben Chilwell, because Ben Chilwell is 29 years old, and I mean, he's not going to be here forever, is he? If we can't do transfers for the next 9 years, Wiley is probably the future at left back, unless we decide to go with Renato Vega, who's not a left back, or Levi Colwell, who's a starting centre-back for us. And we are back, boys and girls. End of January. Everything is looking on the up again. We've had a little bit of a turnaround in fortunes. Yeah, we got knocked out of the FA Cup, but who cares? The FA Cup is for losers. We qualified in style in the Champions League and go straight through to the last 16. We've also beaten Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Manchester United in the league. We're 10 points clear in the league now. The media still thinking we're only going to finish 6th. If we don't win the league from here, it's quite the bottle job. And we also decided to survive January without letting any more key players go, because we are starting to run out of key players to let go. So the squad is as you were. And as you can see, Caleb Wiley is now part of it and has started with a bang. 7.53 average, 2 assists in his first 3 Premier League matches. If we could find someone like him who could appear at right back, that would be super. I am actually training Madueke to play right back because, again, thinking long term, we've got all these wingers. Madueke's never going to get in the team playing on the right wing. But if he could just learn to tackle, he could have a long and fruitful future as our starting right back, or at least a right back who competes for a starting spot with Malo Gusto. It might be a terrible idea, but we've got to make do with what we've got in these circumstances. Remember when I said we'd have to bottle it if we gave up a 10-point lead at the top of the table? 3 games to go and Liverpool have just beaten us and gone above us. And that is a really upsetting sight. Everything was going so well, but then we started doing silly things like losing to Brentford. I mean, to be honest, it's the only league game we've lost apart from that one against Liverpool, but Liverpool have just been relentless. We've also been unceremoniously dumped out of the Champions League by Real Madrid, so we're not winning that this year. And with 3 games to go, we now need Liverpool to drop some points if we're going to win the Premier League. Otherwise, I'm going to be sad at the bottle job that we've just pulled off. This is my sad face. Well, that changes plans a little bit, doesn't it? Football Manager is going to football manage. And I mean, we've all seen it a million times before. It is so difficult to put a club massively in debt and keep them massively in debt in Football Manager. I thought I'd been really clever by doing it as a director's loan of £1 billion, because I was like, well, no, they're never going to pay that back. They can't do £1 billion. No, they did. We've had the takeover. Interestingly, current real-life Peterborough owner, Darragh McAntony, was one of the people trying to lead the consortium. I don't know where he's got £1 billion from, but he didn't get it, but somebody did. A guy called Mark Fishwick has come in, he's refinanced the debts and has lifted our transfer embargo, which does kind of ruin everything, because yes, we could continue to play out 8 more seasons without doing any transfers, but now we can do transfers. It's just gonna feel a bit forced, and also the players aren't going to understand why I'm doing that. When you're forced into an embargo, you can kind of get away with saying, well, I can't. Now it's kind of a bit broken, so I'm changing the rules midway through, because quite apart from anything else, part of the goal was clear the debt, and the debt is basically gone. There's a £750 million new loan that has been set up as part of the takeover. It's a 25-year mortgage, basically. We're not going to clear that because it's a 25-year mortgage. So that side of the challenge is already gone. So I think I am officially calling an audible, and from this point on, saying we're having one more year. We still won't do any incoming transfers for this year that we've got, but rather than playing out for the next 10 years, we've got one more year, and we're just going to try and win everything with this squad. Let's go and win everything. I've got my trophy out. We've only gone and won the Club World Cup. I mean, I don't win the Club World Cup. Challenge complete. Chelsea are unquestionably and provably the greatest football club in the world. You're welcome. This is how we did it. We ended up actually in the group stage. We lost to Bayern Munich initially, and I thought it was all going wrong from there. But we then beat Jeonbuk Hyundai. We thumped them. We then went on to beat Boca Juniors. We thumped Porto in the second round, beat Roma in the quarterfinal, Leipzig in the semi-final, and then Manchester City were toppled by the power of Raheem Sterling in the final. The man is rejuvenated. He's got 5 goals from 5 appearances at the Club World Cup. We're the best club in the world. Raheem Sterling is the best player in the world. 2025 in this universe is a weird place to be, but we have a trophy. It's not either of the trophies we set out to win at the start of the challenge. Obviously, the goal for this coming season is still, we want to win the Premier League, we want to win the Champions League as a minimum, but the Club World Cup is a nice little bonus on top of those. Thank you very much. I'll have me some of that. Tossin's on his way out. Toodle pip Tossin. We are clearing out some of the players that we don't need. We've also cashed in a number of clauses as well. The new board haven't given me loads of wage budget to spend, which is a little bit odd. But as you can see, we are clearing out some of the deadwood. I mean, why did they even sign Dewsbury Hall? Did he actually play a game for them in real life? I don't think I've heard his name mentioned as a Premier League player ever, even when he was playing in the Premier League for Leicester. But yeah, he's gone. Tossin's on his way out after him, despite, I mean, you know me, I love Tossin, but he's gone. Datro Fafana is gone as well, and we'll continue to try and clear out some of the players who don't want to be here. I mean, Raheem, I don't really know. I don't really know what to say. He wants to move to a bigger club. We've literally just won the Club World Cup. There isn't a bigger club. He's a silly goose. Well, we've made it to the end of the summer. We didn't actually let any more of the main players go. There's a few fringies who've gone out on loan, and as you can see, there were a number of offers to try and drag players away from me as the window went on, and we've just kind of turned down lots of transfers to try and keep this squad together. But we have started the season really quite well. We did lose the Community Shield, so we're not going to have a clean sweep of everything. Why were we even in the... I guess we finished second, that's why we're in the Community Shield. But we have started the season strongly in the league. 3 wins from our first 3 matches. Does leave us joint top of the league with Manchester City and Chelsea. Nkunku, who has been one of the standout performers of this save, really thriving as, I mean, more often than not, the centre forward in our system. But he has had some He's had some goal contributions over the course of his 2 and a bit years here at Chelsea. And yeah, he has started the season really, really strongly. This is the 11 that we're using currently. So Lavia starting to break his way in alongside Caicedo. Obviously, we've still got Enzo knocking around as well. But he was away on international duty for this match just gone. We do still have the lack of strength in depth at wing back. But our starting centre-back partnership is very strong. Levi Colwill as a nice backup for them as well. And when Nkunku does move up top, we've got João Felix to bring in to either of those positions. Cole Palmer is still here. Not quite the Cole Palmer we all know and love from real life, though. Although when he did get some opportunities last year, he did score some goals. But Football Manager is always a little harsh on Cole Palmer. It'll be interesting to see how they upgrade him for FM26. Mudryk has been on the transfer list forever, but no one wants him. Occasionally we ship him out to Spurs, but then he comes back. So we'll perhaps try and ship him out to Spurs again at some point. But we've got the Champions League and the Premier League to win. Let's go do those things. And coming into the start of January, and at least one of those things is looking very positive. I mean, shades of last year here, although it is Manchester United rather than Liverpool chasing us this time around. But we were 10 points clear in January last season and ended up managing to bottle it. But we're 12 points clear in January this season, and Christopher Nkunku has already scored 26 goals in all competitions this season. 20 goals from 18 starts in the Premier League. He's on a 7.87. He'd been good the last couple of years. He is sensational now. He is having a lovely old time. But as you can see, just in general, we're having a lovely time. Real Madrid still problematic in the Champions League, but them aside, we are cruising along quite nicely, looking good to qualify straight into the last 16 in this one. But we're relentless in the Premier League, and we have got players. I mean, we have got players having a lovely time. Badiashile still scoring a solid number of goals from the good old corners. Nicholas Jackson, I mean, the fact that he's started 21 games shows just how often Nkunku is playing as the attacking midfielder. I mean, when Jackson doesn't play, Nkunku tends to go up top, although sometimes we use David Washington up there because he is starting to develop. 21 years old, he's starting to get a little bit more game time. We're getting the likes of Sterling, João Felix, Mudryk, all weighing in with their fair share of goals. Even Cole Palmer has turned up and is doing a little bit. Financially, we've fallen back into our overdraft again. Not my problem, not my concern. I was trying to solve that problem and you ruined it for me. And we have got some players again who want to leave. So there might be some outgoing transfers in January, but we will not sign anybody. And look at that team cohesion. Team cohesion definitely benefits Christopher Nkunku. That's what I'm learning as part of this save. We have continued winning throughout January, including a 7-0 win over Brighton in the EFL Cup semi-final first leg, which led to us putting the reserves out in the second leg and picking up our first defeat since Real Madrid way back in September. The Premier League is looking deliciously handsome. Unbelievably, Haaland's outscoring Nkunku despite Nkunku being bananas. And we have qualified for that final 16 in the Champions League and we're looking strong. Problem is Real Madrid and Liverpool both also looking pretty strong. Transfer-wise, we've been able to keep hold of everybody important. I am still concerned about strength in depth in certain positions. If we were able to do transfers, we would definitely be bringing in fullbacks. I don't think we necessarily need a striker now with the emergence of Nkunku, especially when we've got Felix and Palmer who can both play in behind him, Jackson who can rotate with him, Washington getting better all the time. This is definitely something that has been kind of forced upon me by the transfer restrictions. I almost certainly, if I'd have been able to bring transfers in, would have sold him first season. And it turns out he's actually really quite good. So I've learned that. If nothing else, I've learnt 2 things. Christopher Nkunku, worth persevering with and definitely worth playing as a striker. Thing number 2, you can't bankrupt a club in Football Manager. I will one day find a way. How did I do it in the Barcelona save years ago? I need to go back and rewatch that series and work out how I actually managed to force it to happen. But that is a concern for another day because as you can see from this beautiful screen, we have won the Premier League. So in answer to the question from the first episode, Can you win the Premier League without doing any transfers? Yes, you can. It took us 3 years, but this Chelsea team has actually got better and better in each of the 3 years of this save. If we look at our domestic league performance, bearing in mind no incoming transfers, season 1, we finished 3rd on 76 points. Season 2, we finished 2nd on 88 points. Season 3, with even fewer players and no transfers in, we win the league on 97 points. I think that excellent team cohesion has a lot to say about that. But I mean, you can't look too far beyond Christopher Nkunku becoming one of the best players in the world. 41 goals for him. 21 assists as well. So what's that? 62 goal contributions over the course of the season. Surely winning Ballon d'Ors? No. I mean, that's insane that these two are apparently better than him. I won't stand for it. But Nkunku, without question, the star of the series. Jackson weighing in with 20 goals is a great return for him. And Cole Palmer finally starting to look a little bit more like the Cole Palmer from real life. Although, to be fair, it's stat padding in cup competitions. But yeah, he's still doing all right. Financially, yeah, I mean, even without signing a player, it shows how much of a mess Chelsea were in, because even with no incoming transfers for 3 years, selling hundreds of millions of pounds worth of talent, having a board takeover that cleared the majority of the debt, even with all of that, and multiple Champions League seasons, even with all of that, the club is still running at a massive negative cash flow. So Chelsea have got problems, and they're problems that I didn't really solve as part of this series, I don't think, because the board ruined it for me, the game ruined it for me, and I'm very grumpy about it. But we did win the league. That's the important thing. We don't need to discuss what happened in the Champions League. We got knocked out by Liverpool in the quarterfinal. Who cares? We won the World Club Cup. We also won the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. So a domestic treble with a World Club Cup means that, yeah, we might have lost out in the Champions League the last couple of years, but that Champions League win is definitely coming. And I think if we were to continue on for a couple more years, we probably would go on and win the Champions League relatively comfortably. If you want to test that out for yourself, I am going to put the save file for the end of the save over on Patreon. The Patreon link is down in the description below. So if you're on the Patreon, you'll be able to grab the save file and let me know how many more seasons of no incoming transfers it took for you to go and win it all. Let me know in the comments as well. Was I right to abandon the challenge once the challenge was taken away by the game, or would you like to see a third episode, a part 3? If you want to see a part 3, if enough people demand it, I'm not against doing it. It's it's easier than coming up with a new idea. I'm just a little bit worried it's kind of lost a lot of the original oomph by having the financial problems take away. But who am I to say? I'm just a handsome, nearly 30-year-old entertainer. But hopefully you have enjoyed that concept, enjoyed that episode. If you have and you want to see more stuff like this, please leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.